Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing.
Yes, it really looks like the feedback's been overwhelming positive for Cracker Barrel. They lose $100 million in value with a rebrand. Then they launch an apology and lose even more value. We're going to get into it. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is where we call out lies, hypocrisy, corruption, and help spread the light of truth and freedom because truth conquers. Have you ever heard the resounding truth that once you go woke, you go broke? Well, apparently not everyone's heard it. Cracker Barrel definitely hasn't heard it. Bud Light learned it the hard way. Target learned it the hard way. Jaguar, the car company, lose 98% of their sales after their woke rebrand in Europe. They learned it the hard way. So Cracker Barrel gets to have their own experience. They've recently done a rebrand, as you know, but the plot thickens because they faced the backlash, issued a statement, and it dug the hole even deeper. I'm here for it. I love it. And their rebrand, led by Cracker Barrel CEO Julie Masino, who you can see here. Their rebrand had two major components to it. First, the whole damn thing cost $700 million. You're probably like, whoa, you can probably get a lot of value for that. Well, it decreased the value of Cracker Barrel significantly, but what they got was an amazing logo change. You can see here, top was their old logo. Nobody liked this. This is all colonialized. This is undoubtedly a white person, so we got to erase that. He's technically gold. And there's a barrel. Nobody likes that. Old country store. So their new logo, only $700 million, is something that it looks like someone who's just starting some kind of digital arts class would do, not on their first day, but like within the first hour. And the second part of the rebrand, not just changing their logo, but changing the interior of their stores. And you have to realize, Cracker Barrel, it's a restaurant that has an old country store theme to it. So what they did was eliminate the old country store theme from an old country store restaurant. That makes perfect sense. So it goes from looking like this, you know, country stuff. You got a canoe paddle on the wall, old pictures, a store with a whole bunch of country junk you can buy in it, to this. You know, much improved vibe. If you're looking for old country atmosphere dining, you want something that's modern, that looks like a sterile abortion clinic. And obviously the purpose of their rebrand, both with the logo and the interior of their stores, was to erase culture. And presumably it's woke, it's DEI, it's ESG. Wow, old country store vibes. We need to erase the whiteness out of that. That'll probably be good for business, won't it? Probably will. Target? Jaguar, Bud Light, will that be good for business? They just got super woke. Now, the day the rebrand launched, the CEO, Julie Masino, was on Good Morning America, really just giving herself a rave review on how successful the rebrand has been before it launched. But then it launched. But nonetheless, here's her on launch day talking about how much people love it.
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and once every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really? Not customers, but managers that want to suck up to the CEO of the major corporation that they work for.
The feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant. So we're doing everything for our guests and our team members.
Yeah, but like, how overwhelmingly positive has the feedback been, Julie? Well, the feedback has caused Cracker Barrel to lose $100 million in value. Well, this is immediately upon the launch of their rebrand. By the way, in a minute, we're going to find out who the major shareholders of Cracker Barrel are, and none of this is going to surprise you. But first, okay, even a woke CEO realizes we spent $700 million on this rebrand. Our logo looks so good, by the way, so much better. We spent $700 million on this rebrand, and then one day we lose $100 million of value in our company. Even a woke CEO can say, well, that's not good. we better do some damage control. So the good news is, for the sake of you and I, Cracker Barrel's woke executive team did in fact do damage control. They issued a statement. It's long, it's rambling, it's just written with heartfelt, soulless PR BS. And it basically said, hey, we hear you. We don't get everything right the first time. So it starts off, you're like, all right, good. Like, you heard us. You felt the backlash. You're going to change, right? Then the statement just goes on to reiterate how they're sticking to their guns. We're changing, but we still have the old time country atmosphere, even though we completely erased the old time country atmosphere. But those are still our values. We just erased all external expression of them. So in other words, they spit in the face of the customers. We hear you, your feedback's valuable, and we are 100% not going to change anything. You don't like it, suck it. That's effective damage control. How effective? Caused another $43 million in damage, bringing the grand total loss to date. It's probably only going to get bigger. $143 million loss in Cracker Barrel value since their $700 million rebrand. Is that profitable? How much did the $700 million rebrand cost us? So far, $843 million. Not bad. We'll get back to the video in just a second, but first, if you're trying to lose fat and get leaner and or build muscle, this one's for you. So if you're like me, where you're lifting weights, you're getting your cardio in, you're eating clean, you're counting your macros, but you're still not seeing the fitness results you want, the reason why might surprise you. It most likely has to do with what's called your metabolic flexibility. I've been using the Lumen for the past few weeks to better understand how the food I eat fits into the bigger picture of how my body shifts from burning carbs or fat for energy. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. With just one breath in the morning, it can measure your metabolism. It lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs for energy and gives you tailored recommendations for your nutrition, your workouts, your stress management, and sleep. Let me show you how quick and easy it is.
Inhale deeply through your lumen. Hold your breath. Exhale in 3, 2, 1.
So it lets me know right now, based on the current state of my metabolism, I'm burning mostly fat, 65% fat, 35% burning carbs for energy. And it lets me know based on my current metabolism and my health and fitness goals, today is a low carb day, aiming for 210 grams of carbohydrates, 175 grams of protein, and 135 grams of fat. That's what my body currently needs to function at its best. How else am I going to know that? If I scroll down, it even gives me very specific recommendations on breakfast options, lunch options, snack options, dinner options that are based on my body's current metabolic needs. Take the frustration out of doing the wrong thing and guessing and start tuning into your body with Lumen. Go to the link below or go to lumen.com/JPReacts. And at that link, you get 15% off your Lumen. That's lumen.com/JPReacts. Your metabolism will thank you for it. Now back to the video. Now, if you're thinking like a normal capitalist with half a degree of common sense, you're like, dude, that rebrand is so terrible. Why are they just doubling down on it with their damage control statement that objectively did more damage? Well, when you find out who the major shareholders of Cracker Barrel are, you realize this is what they do. They don't care about that loss of value. Leave it to DC Drano, who points out 2 of the 3 biggest shareholders of Cracker Barrel stock are BlackRock and Vanguard, the DEI ESG kings. We're here to erase culture. Why? I don't know. One world government, total world control. It's in our long-term plans. Whatever. We really care about having a modern look to things. So this is not surprising whatsoever. We've seen this amongst huge corporations where Vanguard, BlackRock are major shareholders. They do this ESG thing, DEI thing. We know it's going to lose the money. Why do the companies do it? Well, you have to think about it this way. So far, the rebrand has cost Cracker Barrel $843 million. But Vanguard and BlackRock over here, let's just say they're pushing in $5 billion into it. I don't know the exact number. But for example, they're putting $5 billion into it and saying, hey, Cracker Barrel, here's $5 billion. And here's what we want you to do. And Cracker Barrel says, well, that's going to make us lose value. We estimate you will eventually lose $1 billion in company value. BlackRock and Vanguard says, that's a $4 billion profit. If you take our money, implement this stuff, all you have to do is lose $1 billion in value and you get $5 billion of our money. $4 billion of that is profitable. And Cracker Barrel says it actually is a good business decision for us to make this bad business decision that you want us to make. 2 of our 3 largest shareholders. Then you do a little more digging. Cracker Barrel's own site, you find their LGBT propaganda page. They're supporting pride events with all age kids, things. So anyway, this is very in line with BlackRock and Vanguard. I mean, don't get me wrong. Cracker Barrel, they're making, on the whole, a good business decision, which means they have to make a bad business decision because that bad business decision is a good business decision if they're going to get more money from investors. BlackRock and Vanguard, we hear you. We'll bow down, do what you want us to do. We're soulless. We don't care. But I do want to point something out. Look at this page filled with hate from Cracker Barrel. Now, at first glance, someone might say, this is the most inclusive, loving page on Cracker Barrel's website. And look. Cracker Barrel, LGBT Alliance. Cracker Barrel, what about the queers? What about the Q? You are so uninclusive to the queers. You're deliberately, middle finger in their face. You go, LGBT, we love you. We support you. We're going to fund your pride events. But the Qs, come on, get real. So there's just Americans with good values that are doing a massive boycott on Cracker Barrel. It cost them $143 million in value so far. But wait until the queers form their own boycott. We're the only one in the alphabet soup people that you are being uninclusive to. I guess Two-Spirit and all the other made-up letters are unincluded too. They could be part of the boycott. Could you imagine Cracker Barrel, just a massive queer boycott? They'll feel that pain. So Cracker Barrel, you are joining a beautiful, whatever the opposite of Mount Rushmore is. This, of course, is the woke white lady that ushered in Dylan Mulvaney for Bud Light. How'd that work out? You got the Cracker Barrel CEO, the Star Wars woke white lady. Wow, a lot of woke white ladies here. And the internet's having a lot of fun with it. Here's another rebrand suggestion. Crack Barrel, replacing Uncle Herschel with Uncle Hunter. And I love how a presumed competitor of Cracker Barrel, Steak and Shake, they're going hard in the paint against Cracker Barrel. I love this. Sometimes people want to change things to put their own personality on things. At Cracker Barrel, their goal is to just delete the personality altogether. Hence the elimination of the old timer from the signage. Heritage is what got Cracker Barrel this far, and now the CEO wants to scrape it all away. At Steak and Shake, we take pride in our history, our families, and American values. All are welcome. We will never market ourselves away from our past in a cheap effort to gain the approval of trend seekers. Hey, we have breaking news. I'm cutting in here wearing different clothes because it's a different day. Right before this video was published, Cracker Barrel came out backtracking, saying we are changing back to the old logo. It would have helped them out a lot if they just would have done that with their original damage control statement that caused more damage. Now, it's also worth pointing out that as of now, Cracker Barrel will proceed in the destructive direction of still having their stores washed away of the country atmosphere in favor of the sterile abortion clinic waiting room look. It's beautiful. I'm sure that's going to be great for business. People see that's the familiar logo, and why does it look so crappy in here? But nonetheless, did President Trump have something to do with this? We'll get to that in a second. But the breaking news, Cracker Barrel says, we thank our guests for sharing your voices and love for Cracker Barrel. It's more like the hate for the rebranding, but we said we would listen, and we have. Our new logo is going away. and our old timer will remain, yada, yada, yada. Now, out of the $700 million they spent on the rebrand, apparently $30 million of that is reported to be paid just to consultants. Can you believe it? If someone was paid $30 million to say, get rid of that logo, here's this really good basic one, and change all your stores. Someone was paid $30 million for that. Cracker Barrel, if you're watching this, I want you to know for your next rebrand, I'll do it for $20 million. I'm going to give you a deal. And I guarantee I'll do a better job, but $20 million. You can't get a better deal than that. Now, did President Trump have something to do with helping Cracker Barrel? Course correct. He did give them some advice. So is this Trump at work? I don't know, probably not. If Cracker Barrel is smart, they will listen to customers, and customers have spoken. But Trump actually did give them good advice. Prior to Cracker Barrel switching back to their old logo, which is now their new logo, President Trump put this out on Truth Social. Cracker Barrel should go back to the old logo, admit a mistake based on customer response, the ultimate poll, and manage the company better than ever before. They got $1 billion worth of free publicity if they play their cards right. Very tricky to do, but a great opportunity. Have a major news conference today. Make Cracker Barrel a winner again. Remember, in just a short period of time, I made the United States, now he's making it about himself, I love that, of America, the hottest country anywhere in the world. 1 year ago, it was dead. Good luck. Good for Cracker Barrel for changing back to the logo that people actually liked. However, so much of this story is still at play because of who funds Cracker Barrel and the fact that their stores still look like sterile abortion clinics. Now, let's pick back up. It's so obvious what the predicted future of Cracker Barrel is. It's so obvious. And then when you get behind the scenes, realize BlackRock, Vanguard, these major conglomerates kind of doing their one world order kind of thing. It makes sense why another company is seemingly making these mistakes. They're willing to sacrifice profits because they're getting more money and investment from these evil companies. It makes sense. But nonetheless, I would still like to say, shame on you, Cracker Barrel. You look really stupid. Well, let me know what you think about Cracker Barrel's little fiasco here in the comments. And I'll look forward to seeing you on our next video. But until then, stay free.